Hey, this is Ralph, and in this video I want to do a little bit of cleanup, a little bit of organization for my student portfolio folder structure. And this is going to be especially useful for students that are taking two web development related classes like Web Development 1 and JavaScript. I have a couple students doing that. But it's also going to be useful for students that are currently in a course like JavaScript, but they want to preserve their previous work from Web Development 1 and or Web Development 2. And basically we just want to split up some subfolders into our main directory, our main root folder on our website. And we also want to kind of structure a home page so that we can, a visitor can easily go to your home page and then navigate over to the current class or one of the current classes or the old class, stuff like that. So I have a situation that's kind of similar to what some of you have. And let me jump over to my browser here. And here's my site, rrphillips.95.dev, and it's pretty much blanked out. I don't have an index page published yet. It's just basically the bare bones, kind of like it's a brand new server space. So I'm working on two classes this term. Got CIS 195 Web Dev 1 and CIS 133 JS Intro to JavaScript. And I want to kind of have two separate areas for those. Now, what I've already got done is on my desktop, I've got my working folders where I'm going to be saving stuff locally as I'm practicing and things like that. So I've got my 133 JS JavaScript folder. And nothing too exciting in there. I've got a couple of basic web pages. I've got an images subfolder, scripts subfolder, and a style subfolder. Script subfolder just has one single JS file at the moment, but of course that's going to get bigger as the term progresses. Similarly, my 195 folder is also pretty empty. I've got a temporary web page, HTML, images subfolder, style subfolder. No need for scripts in that particular class. Okay, so I've got these two separate folders. These are my working folders. However, on the web, they're going to be united within the same server space. So let me do this. I'm going to head over to WinSCP, and I'm going to log in to my server space. Here we go. So here's my server space over here on the right. And basically, okay, I've already got a style subfolder and images subfolder in there. I could really keep those. That's not too big of a deal. But what I do want to do in this root folder, notice I'm in my domain folder. That's what you need on this particular hosting plan. I'm going to create a new folder, new directory, and I'll just go ahead and call that CIS 195, all lowercase, no spaces. There we go. So now I've got my CIS 195 folder. I'm going to right click new directory and I'm going to create CIS 133 JS, all lowercase, no spaces. Default permissions is fine. Now, if you've already got some work in here from a previous class, well, this is the opportunity. Now that you've got these folders for current or older classes, you would take any files you might have and drag them into that appropriate subfolder. So pretty much in this domain root folder, you're not going to have much. There's going to be some subfolders for some future classes or current classes, and there's going to end up being one index.html, which is going to be our directory page that leads the visitors to these other ones. But that's pretty much it right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to, and I'll just open up VS Code, and I'll just start a new page up here. Now this one, this page is not going to be worked on too often. It's just there to route people into one of two or three options. So I'm going to go ahead and do a file, save as, and I don't even want to save it into one of my main working folders because it's not related to one specific class. I'll just save it to my desktop, that's fine, and it's going to be index.html. And let's see, I'm just going to go ahead and put in some generic content right in there, and I'll put in my name. Okay, now what's going to be in the body of this page? It's going to have a set of nav tags, because this is going to be a navigation menu, and then it's going to have a hyperlink. Now the first hyperlink I'm going to do is going to go to CIS 133 JS and then a slash. So I'm doing the folder name and then the slash, that's it. And then and I can just put in CIS 133. Now the next hyperlink is going to look pretty similar. I'm going to copy that, paste it. However, this one's going to go to CIS 195 Development 1. Perfect. All right, so that's all I need on this index page. It's going to have some hyperlinks to those individual pages. Now, if I jump back over to my, I've got this on autosave, by the way. If I jump back over to my FTP client, so I'm just going to head up into the desktop. That'll be fine. And there's that index.html. I'm going to publish that into my root folder. Again, this is going right into my root folder up here. Now, I don't have an index.html in my 133.js on the server, and I don't have one in my 195 on the server, but that's kind of okay too, because I can start to publish things into those folders. So what would I publish? Well, basically, from my desktop, that's where I've got my 195 working folder. There's my working folder for WebDev1. I can go into that folder on the server, take all of these folders and files, and just drag those right over. So basically, all of my WebDev1 folders and files are going to be in the CIS 195 folder on my server space. Let me go up one level into my 133.js. Let's go find my JavaScript working folder. There it is. I'm going to grab these files and folders, drag those all over, and it's thinking a little bit, but there we go. So this one actually does have an index. Cool. So now I've got things published. How is this going to work? Well, if I or if anybody else heads over to my web server space, my website, and let me go ahead and do a refresh, I see that I've got 2 hyperlinks up there. If I click on my 195, that's just going to take me to this because I don't have an index page, so it's just giving me a list of files and I can see stuff in there. Okay, great. And if I go back and I click on my JavaScript link, there we go. I've got this page from my JavaScript class, and I'll be able to see that home page in there. Now remember, this is mostly going to apply to people that are currently in 2 classes where you're using web server space, or if you want to kind of preserve or archive work you did in a former class. But when it's all said and done, you're going to have an index page in your main root folder, which simply has hyperlinks to the classes. And those hyperlinks are going to go to subfolders for each individual class where you're going to maintain or archive your old class web pages in there. Cool. Now I think what I'll do after the recorder here is I'm just going to go ahead and do a little bit of styling on my that main index page so that these hyperlinks are kind of big and chunky and taking up the full screen. Talk to you later.